Folks, welcome to another edition of Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name's Chris Myer. I'm going to be your host today. And today on the show, we have Jak Knudsen with SIX. Now, maybe you've never heard of SIX, but they are a vocal powerhouse of brothers doing things like nobody else does. And so we're going to talk to Jak. It has been 4 years since he's been on the show, so we're really excited to have him on the show today. One of the things periodically I do like to mention is we do a magazine called Play Branson. And so if you're looking for what's going on in Branson, maybe you're watching this in your hotel room, check this magazine out, Play Branson. It's free. It's the best free magazine in Branson, and it will tell you everything there is to do here in town. Great publication. You're going to want to check it out. We're working on volume 4 now, and so hopefully soon on the stands we'll have the next edition out. Can't wait for that to happen. One of the things that, as I was looking at SIX, they actually have earned the Certificate of Excellence Hall of Fame for TripAdvisor. So that takes a lot of work to get into that Hall of Fame, because you have to get the Certificate of Excellence like for 5 years in a row to go into the Hall of Fame. And they've won numerous awards. So we're really excited to talk about SIX and what's going on with the show, and talk to Jak as well. And he's crazy. Well, I think he's crazy. Anyway, we'll be back in just a second with more on Play Branson. Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson, and today I am here with Jak Knudsen. Jak, it's good to have you back.
It's great to be back, Chris.
You were on the 4th episode I ever did of this show, and so we're up to 187.
So yeah.
So it's been a while. Welcome.
It's about time to be back.
It is. It is. I didn't realize it had been that long.
I didn't either. Anyway, it's good to be back, and we're happy and proud to be associated with your company. We appreciate all the things you guys do for not only us, but just for all of Branson.
Yeah, well, we're here trying to share the message of entertainment, and that's what makes Branson unique and different. And
it does.
Folks, and I've talked about this before, is that, our entertainers had a terrible time with COVID. I mean, it put everybody out of business for months and months. And then when you were in business, then you couldn't have as many people in. And so things are starting to get better. And we're going to talk about this show, but I know there's people out there that are watching that have never heard of SIX. They've never seen your show. They don't know anything about you. So let's take people way back, and let's talk about how you got into this business, because it's a pretty darn awesome story.
Well, it was back in the 70s, and we were all kids. And back in the 70s, you had the Osmonds, you had the Jacksons, and then on television, you had the Partridge Family. Mm-hmm. And there was seemed to be this fascination in the country with musical families. And our dad had all these boys. There's 10 boys in our family. And we would run around the house making up goofy songs, and we could harmonize. And he picked up on that, and I think he hated his job, like a lot of people. And he just sat us down and started teaching us songs on the piano. We didn't know how to read music. He'd just play out our part repetitively until we got it, and then add another part. So it was a really laborious process, especially for kids under 10 who wanted to just go outside and play. Right. I don't even know how he accomplished that, and got us to actually sign on for that, willfully or willingly. Anyway, that's how it got started. We sang in church. He taught us hymns, because usually most hymns in the hymn book are 4 parts already arranged. Right. So that's what he taught us. Mm-hmm. And so we sang in church, and we didn't have a lot of form, but we always sang out. And I think it was shocking for for people to hear kids singing out that loud. In fact, we had several concerned people come up and say, "Hey, you guys are over singing. I mean, you need to really be careful with your voices." And I never felt like I was stressing my voice out. So we just kind of stuck with that. But we did that, and then we got into barbershop because that was another 4-part pre-made thing. It was easy to get a hold of because it was mostly already done. And we competed in the barbershop world for a while and did pretty well. But I mean, as kids, I mean, let's be honest, barbershop, is that really exciting?
Yeah. Well, there was some point where you got on the Osmond show.
Yeah.
And that?
In 1978. See, we had a guy that was trying to be our manager, and he was friends with the Osmonds, and he played Santa Claus for him every year when they had their Christmas party. They'd always have this big family Christmas party. So he got us into the party, snuck us into the side door, and they were all sitting there just enjoying, their evening. And he brought us in, or he came up and he said to George and Arlie, he goes, I've got this magic camera. I'm going to take you back.
Oh.
And he goes, okay, he started naming off all the brothers, and we'd run out one by one. And then we get to Marie, and another brother comes out, and then another brother comes out, and our mom was pregnant with number 10, and she finally walked out, and she said, she was very visibly pregnant. She said, "We're working on it, Santa."
That's hilarious.
And so then we soon found ourselves singing in front of these guys that we've seen on television for a long time, and I tend not to be a starstruck person, but man, I really was.
Yeah.
I really was that day. Gosh, I felt like I was going to faint. I think I was 5 feet away from Jay. He was just sitting there. He had this big smile on his face. He was thoroughly enjoying it, and then from there they just said, hey, they had an Osmond Brothers special coming up because at the time Donnie and Marie, every Friday night it was the Donnie and Marie show. They were filming in a movie called Going Coconuts. And so they had this episode of just brothers, and that's the show they had us on.
Okay.
And they set it up by showing videos of them back when they were on the Andy Williams show as kids singing barbershop, and then they kind of brought us on as like, hey, these guys, we saw them, and they kind of reminded us of this, and that we did our thing, and we thought that was it. We're gonna be stars. And then that was it.
So it took a while from that point in time.
Yeah.
Because what I have in my notes is then you guys in 1995, you guys go out to LA, is that right?
Actually, it was in 87 we went.
Okay.
We went out to, and I talk about this in the show, and I kind of make a joke out of it, but Kevin was already living out there. He had just gotten married, and he was working some job that he hated. And we went out the first part of 87 because we had some other friends that we knew that were trumpet players, and they would go street singing, and they actually did pretty well doing it, or street performing. And so we kind of went to the places that they would go to, and we just tried it out one weekend in January of 1987. And we loved it. I mean, it was like such a rush, and we're like, let's do this. So Barry, Lynn, and I, we literally got into a 64 Ford F-100 that was a piece of crap. Let's just, I mean, it was not a good car. And we had like, what, $400 between us? What a great plan. And we moved out to Orange County, and we tried to live with Kevin, but their department manager said, no, you can't do that. So we were living in a park and ride. And we'd sleep in the back of the truck and wake up with these little red bugs all over us every morning. And then we'd go over to Kevin's house and rehearse, or his apartment, rehearse all day. And then we'd go down to Los Angeles every night and sing in front of different theaters. And I mean, we saw a lot of crazy stuff, because it was at nighttime in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We saw muggings. I mean, it's just like street fights, and you know, we're doing all of our stuff around this, and
So your story is unusual because most people don't start out on scene on street corners in LA to get to Branson. Like, you know.
No, that's not the path.
It's a unique path. And so kind of just take us from that, and eventually you guys got to Vegas, right?
Yeah, I mean, we ended up living out in Los Angeles, Orange County, till about 2000, and we wanted to all buy homes because we had started getting families, and you know, Orange County, the housing prices were not good, and we were at a time where we were just doing a lot of traveling anyway, so it really didn't matter where we lived. So we all bought homes in the Phoenix area, and that kind of became our home base. And then 9/11 happened, and it's like we were stuck outside of the country when that happened. It was very disturbing. The whole thing was very disturbing, but being outside of the country, not being able to get home, that was terrible in and of itself. And from there, we just decided, you know, let's get off the road. And so a couple of years later, we found ourselves working in Vegas. And we were at when it was the Aladdin, it's Planet Hollywood now, but there was Inside Passage Theater in there, and we played there for a little bit, and then they moved the show to the Lady Luck, and then it was 2006. We were kind of like, what do we do? We didn't have a place to play in Vegas anymore. Our producer, the hotels were telling him to de-Osmondize us, which was a funny comment, because right after we came to Branson, Donnie Marie opened at the Flamingo, and was one of the most successful shows they've had in recent history. So that's as Osmond as you can get. So I don't know what they were looking for, but banging it out in Vegas for 3 years really got us ready to come here and have the kind of success that we did here.
Yeah. Okay, folks, we're going to stop right there, and we'll be back in just a minute with more with Jak. Hang tight. Hey folks, welcome back to the show. We're here with Jak Knudsen of the group SIX. And Jak, you guys came to Branson in 2006, and so this is your 15th year here in Branson.
Unreal.
And so you're over at the Dick Clark's American Bandstand Theater.
Yes.
And that's your second year at that theater.
Yes.
But when you guys came to Branson, you're a different group than most Branson performers. So talk a little bit about that and what that meant.
Well, back then, I mean, what we do is, I mean, we're an a cappella group, and when we came to Branson, it was still a pretty unknown quantity to a lot of people, especially with having a beatboxer in there and doing your music in the way that it more sounds like a band than just a vocal group ensemble singing, you know, some songs. And that's what we've always tried to create it, but we haven't made a big deal out of that. Our big thing is we just want to be entertaining, and be like, really, I think we're probably the first a cappella show band that in existence. I mean, because we're not recording artists.
Yeah.
We've always just done shows, and so coming here, it was definitely a different product. You know. And we happened to be 6 brothers when we came here. We've done a lot of different things. We've had 4, 3, 5 combinations. We joke about this in the show. There's been 14 different combinations of 6 brothers that have sung together for over 40 years.
Yeah.
And
so you're the longest, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're like the longest running a cappella group
in the world with the same original members.
Yeah.
There's groups that have been, like the King Singers. They've been around since the 60s, but they don't have any original members.
Yeah. So So I mean, if someone goes to the show, they literally will think that there's a whole band behind it, but that band is you guys with your unique talent to do that with your voices. And so it's kind of like the orchestra of human voices. That's kind of a tagline, right?
That's a tagline we use. But
and so, folks, I think if you go, you're going to be like, "Where's the band?" And it's them, and it's really amazing, and I love it. So
well, it's been good. You don't have to pay for band members, so that's an increase in pay.
There you go. There you go.
So,
there you go. So if someone's never seen the show, like how would you describe it to them?
Well, it's like I said, you got the dynamic of brothers up on stage that have lived together their whole lives, and then performed together most of their lives. So you got that baked into the whole thing going in. We are all about high energy and just trying to make it fun, and then have the audience walk out on a nice high and be uplifted as they leave the theater, and maybe want to go home and be a better person in their family. You know, and we've had a lot of emails from people who have, you know, blessed us with their experiences that they shared with us about how they were motivated to go fix a relationship that they've had, a poor relationship they've had with a sibling or something. Because I think it's fascinating to people to see siblings up there working together, and kids seem to really, really enjoy that.
Yeah. I said at the first of the show that I thought you're crazy. Like, if someone's watching this, they're like, he's not crazy.
I'm not crazy.
But on stage, like sometimes, like everybody has their own personality on stage, and
stage is my outlet.
Yes, you do some crazy stuff on stage sometimes. And so you do this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it like the Disturbed song? Is that what it's called?
Well, it's their version of Sound of Silence.
Yeah.
But it's more based off of that. I really, really liked it, and I hope I don't offend anybody. I've never been a big Simon and Garfunkel fan. I don't particularly enjoy their sound. I appreciate what they're doing. They're incredibly talented. It's just not my cup of tea. So I've always heard their song, their version of it, and that haunting riff that comes in. That's always been fascinating to me. And some of the harmonies, we replicate some of those in our version of Curtis. Some of the harmonies he does with me are exactly what they do in their song. But for some reason, the Disturbed version of it, the first time I heard it, I found myself tears running down my cheek. It's like, what in the world's going on here? So I mean, it really hit me. So when we learned the song, we were trying to figure out which brother was going to sing it, because it's a beast.
Yeah.
It starts off low, and there's only two brothers that can sing down in that register effectively in the group, and it's myself or Barry, and Barry's loaded up with leads in the show, and so
they give it to you.
Yeah.
And you do a great job of it. And
thanks.
And
it's taken a while to learn how to sing.
But you've also done things over the years. You've done like MC Hammer to Justin Bieber to all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think if people go to the show, they will see that there are these different personalities that you guys try to. I mean, guys kind of do that in the show. Like it comes out, because not all brothers are the same.
No, they're not.
And
no, that's funny, because people, they ask questions as though like we live together, like all six of us or all the guys in the group live together, and like, where's your brother? And I'm like, I don't know where my brother is right now. I'll see him tonight at the show at 8:00, and that's enough.
Yeah. So how many kids do you have?
I have 4 boys.
You have 4 boys.
Yeah. 4 boys, and they're all adults now. That's crazy. 2 are married. I have 2 grandkids, and
oh my gosh.
I know. A little 4-year-old and a little 1-year-old, and boy, they're just amazing. They're your reward for not killing your kids, is what I've always been told, and I believe it.
Do you think they're going to ever get in the business?
Gosh, I don't know. My little grandson is, good grief, he's got an incredible pitch and ear at age, well, he'll be 4 in about a week. Well, from this taping, but he'll already be 4 when this shows. But very talented little boy, gosh.
So the show has really all different types of music in it.
It does.
You know, and you guys cover a big spectrum.
Yeah, we go from heavy metal to country and gospel and there's a song that our brother Lynn wrote. It's kind of a tribute to our dad and our parents. They're both gone now, and we're grateful for them. They really did the best they could to instill in us good values of hard work and honesty and trying to have a love and respect for God and your fellow man, and we try to gear our show and those principles guide what we do on stage. Right. I try to think of it. Would my mom be cool with what I'm doing on stage?
Right.
And if I can't say yes, then we don't do it.
And that's what makes Branson, I think, great, because it's a place where families can come and be entertained. And there's not really any other place in the country that can happen. That's my.
You're right.
You can't do that in Vegas.
No.
And really, you can't even do it in New York City because they don't care if they say a cuss word or this or that.
No.
So this is about family entertainment, and you guys are a family entertaining families, and that happens. So here's I want to let people know, we got to wrap the show up. They can come see you on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
And Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 o'clock. And that's the general schedule. There might be an off day here or there somewhere, but overall, that is the general schedule.
Overall, and then on some months, like July and May, and June, and then in the fall, we do Saturday matinees at 3 o'clock. But generally, it's 5 days a week. As you said, that's our schedule, and I love that schedule because it gives you kind of a life. You make more money if you're doing all evening shows, but it's nice to have a night off.
Yeah.
Every other night.
Yep.
It really is.
So it's at the Dick Clark's American Bandstand Theater, and that's also where Legends in Concert are. If you're not for sure what that is, it's really one of the first theaters on the left when you come into town on West 76.
Fantastic show.
Right across from Fritz's, right across from Dolly Stampede. So in that area, it's a great venue, great theater. And this is your second season there, and so folks, go see SIX. If you haven't seen them, go see them. If you've seen them, go back and see them again. And that's the thing too, is the shows change.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee if you saw them 4 years ago, the show is completely different.
Yeah.
Than what it is back then.
So it's completely, especially if it's been 4 years.
Yeah. So and that's the thing I want to convey to people, is that the shows do change.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't realize that they do.
Yeah, we don't wholesale change our show every year, but it's always evolving, and at the top of the year we always have a few new pieces, and then through the year, through that season, we'll throw in some more stuff. So in a matter of 2 or 3 years, the show will be completely different.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an ever evolving thing.
Okay, folks, thanks for watching. We'll be back in just a moment to wrap the show up.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson, and we just got done interviewing Jak, and man, there's always so much to talk about and you just never get to it. But one of the things that we didn't talk about was SIX has played with a lot of big stars, every folks from Trisha Yearwood to Diana Ross, the Beach Boys, Olivia Newton-John, Rod Stewart, the Doobie Brothers. They worked for years on the road and did tons of things like that. Be sure to go see SIX. Go to the6show.com if you want to see their website. Once again, they're performing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 o'clock, Tuesday and Thursdays at 3, and then there's some other days where they've got a few other times as well. I do want to let you all know there is a special show on April 23rd. Matt Gum is going to be over at Clay Cooper's doing his own show, and he does about 6 of those a year, at least this year anyway. So if you're looking for some unique shows, you might go out over and check Matt Gum out over at Clay Cooper's Theater. And then on next week's show, I have another guy that has never been on the show before. His name is Adam Weber, and he's with a new show in town called The British Invasion over at the Americana Theater. So I'm anxious to talk to him and learn more about that show and learn more about Adam. If you need help planning your entire Branson vacation, you can go to ibranson.com. You can call those folks at 877-ENTERTAIN, and they can help book on the phone, or if you want to book online at iBranson, you can do that. You can buy tickets for SIX and lots of other shows and attractions and lodging there as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll be with you next week here on Play Branson.